All right, all right, all right. Welcome into Toilets to Titles. This is episode number 139, and this is the third year in a row we are doing our redraft mock draft spectacular right before the start of the NFL season. It was week 0 in college football. It seems like everybody is buzzing. Real football is here, and we are ready to rock and roll. And I know it's redraft season, and I'm hoping that this episode does something for you. All right, it helps you in one way or another. You either enjoy listening to it, you enjoy watching it, or maybe we talk some sense into you, or maybe you know what, if you disagree, maybe it talks you out of doing something that might have been foolish. But this evening we have two special guests, and I'm going to start with Bob Harris, a man I've been trying to get on for a little bit. We've had him on before. He's a very busy man, as George said in the background earlier on. He's at FF Diehards on the Twitter, senior editor, Sirius XM fantasy host, and Fantasy Sports Writers Association Hall of Fame member. So, Bob, how are we doing this evening?
We're doing fantastic. There's all kinds of things going on and news happening, games happening. No shortage of excitement. And, of course, the excitement only grows on Tuesday when at least 50% of the players I'm going to draft get released.
Bob, and some of us were down there in the Fantasy Football Expo, and we actually got to listen to you this year. We got to bump into you. So what was your experience like? I know you kind of touched on it before we got it on here, but what was it like for you? You know, a lot of us, you know, we're not standing up and talking. So you're usually on the radio, and then actually being able to be there, see a lot of people that you're interacting with on Twitter, that's got to be a whirlwind. So what was it like for you?
Yeah, I rarely interact with anyone other than my cats and my fiance. So, walking into any crowded room is an interesting thing. I think that was the most 30-second conversations I've ever had over the course of a weekend. Look, Bob Lung has made a fantastic thing, right? I can remember going there when it was just the King's Classic drafts. It was a group of us, drafters who went into the Hall of Fame, and it was like super cool, drafting, and we thought that was great. And then all of a sudden there became this expo component. And the first year was kind of mostly us as well. It's since grown, and it's just become quite a thing. I think next year, I can only imagine how much it's going to grow based on the last 3 years. And I'm super excited to see it. But kudos to Bob Lung for putting it together. I always love doing the final broadcast show of the day on Sirius and making him cry like 3,000 times with every question, just because he's so tired and emotional. I said, "Hey, what time is it?" Start breaking down. I mean, it's just been a whirlwind for him. So great time. It was great seeing everyone I got to see, and hopefully in the future there will be more time there, and I could spend like at least 45 seconds talking to everyone.
Yeah. Shout out to Bob's, huh? All Bob's. Raise your hands. All right, stand up. Bob Lung, man, it's like the movie Multiplicity. I swear he must have cloned himself, because he was everywhere. Anytime I turned over one shoulder or the other, he was there in some capacity, but it was always moving. I don't think I ever saw him stay still. So the fact that you were able to sit him down and have a conversation with him is very impressive. It must mean you're important. he was willing to do that.
So I sat next to him during the King's Classic draft as well. And honestly, his phone was ringing every 5 seconds during that. And he's like, making decisions, doing things while he's drafting. I mean, it's whatever whirlwind I was experiencing was just like a fraction of what he was dealing with.
All right. We also have another guest this evening, recurring guest. It's Shane Hallam at Shane P. Hallam on the Twitter of draftcountdown.com. Shane, how are we doing this evening?
I'm doing all right. I need to keep my numbers up, so I'm still like the most frequented guest. But this is always a fun show. I'm actually doing my home league draft at the same time as our mock, so I'll be looking this way. That's what I'm doing. But I can multitask. That's easy, right? Two drafts.
I think that's actually better for the listener, because the fact that you're doing two drafts at once, you have you have the most current ADP. Because you have 2 drafts worth of ADP, so we gotta let that rock. So I think you're not the only person during this draft that it has multiple drafts. There were guys at Toilets to Titles who were like, we're gonna come on, and they're like, but I'm at my home league draft. I'm at this draft. I'm like, you know what? Focus on your own draft, because I don't want anybody timing out. So at least I got my eyes on you, Shane, and I'll be able to make sure that you
still see me like, I know it's like the complete opposite. It's like the old like no PPR standard 1 QB, and then we're doing.
We all have one of those, right?
Right. We all still have one. So So this will be fun. It'll be fun.
Stale. That's called stale. And every offseason they vote on something. They vote on 3 different things and nothing passes, and then vote on it again next year. Yeah, I got kind of grandfathered into one of those. And
I'm going to need you guys to stop talking about my home league, please.
All right. If you're listening at home, that's my main man, George Reed at George Reed FF. We also got Nino Brown at Nino Brown _T2T. You guys have been super busy. How are we doing this evening?
Oh, fantastic. I excited to get the 4th pick in this draft because my home league draft is actually tomorrow, and I landed the 4th pick in that one as well. So not only am I mocking for the show tonight, but I'm going to be doing the same pick for my home league tomorrow. So kind of excited about that.
Yeah, I was supposed to pick 5th, but John Duffel, another John took 5th, so that's fine. So I replaced him at 10. Nino, how you doing, man? You coming down from all the football action today or what?
I am super excited, and Shane forgets he's actually doing 3 drafts because he's in a draft with me.
That's true. I got to make sure I don't time out of that one either. That's true. I forgot.
So yeah, but I am so much football. Like I said earlier, I haven't watched one preseason game today. I've been all in on the college football. It's been great. Nebraska lost, which kind of stinks, but the Seminoles are up big, so keep it going, and I'm ready to mock tonight.
Hell yeah. All right, excellent. We also have Dirty Jobs in the background, our producer, who's going to be drafting. Then at home, we have Chuck, the man of steel, drafted from the app. We have Joe Nose drafting from the app. We have my man, John Duffel, drafting from the app. Chris Mancuso drafting from the app. And I think that rounds us out at about 12. Oh, we're at 12. If I'm missing somebody, I apologize, but I think I got everybody covered in there. So why don't we kick this thing off? And Bob, man, we figured. Sorry, Shane, but you're on enough. You're old news, right? Bob, we don't get Bob very often. So Bob, we gave you the first pick. So you're going to kick this thing off. Dirty Jobs is going to hit the bell, and everyone make sure you mute because Sleeper's got this obnoxious thing where it goes, wow, every time you make a pick that it does not like. So I'll be muting mine because it's my pick.
Oh, is that what that noise means? It makes it every single pick I make. Oh my God.
You and me. Me too, man. It hates me. But all right, Dirty Jobs. Let's kick this thing off, and we'll pass it over to Bob once it starts. He's doing the magic. Oh, ding, ding, ding.
So that didn't take long. I was, in the Scott Fish Bowl, I had the 2nd pick overall in the Superflex, and I would have been happy taking it now, but getting the 1st pick, it's pretty easy. You don't have to spend a lot of time and consideration on the position players when you can land Josh Allen with that 1st pick overall. I think the 2nd pick is where you can start thinking about it. And Shane clearly is.
Yeah.
So I was going to ask Bob what took him so long to make that pick because I noticed that at least 3 seconds went off the clock before he.
I was reaching over. I had to do
draft button.
I had to reach across my body because I'm on multiple devices here. That was the.
Oh man.
Shane, you're on the clock, my friend.
All right. I'm going to take Justin Herbert here at the number 2. And yeah, I mean, I think you can consider those running backs a bit. But to me, it's really between Herbert and Patrick Mahomes in the Superflex at number 2. And honestly, I like Herbert's weapons better this year. I think Mahomes could take a step back fantasy wise. I think Herbert could really explode. There's going to be some high scoring games. So I'll take Herbert 2nd.
Excellent. And I did forget somebody. It was Matt. Matt, I thought you might be coming on air. That's why I didn't put you on the app. But our man, Matt from Down Under Dynasty is in here, so he cannot be forgotten. Thank you for joining us. He's going to go Tom Brady with his first selection. That's if Nino does not go Tom Brady with a 3rd overall selection. Go ahead, Nino.
I'm gonna go Mahomes. I
want to say thank you, Nino. Thank you.
You're welcome.
I thought you were going to snipe me with my guy.
Ooh,
No.
Jalen Hurts. So wait, we got Allen, we got Herbert, we got Mahomes, and we got Hurts. This is breaking news. Hurts is in with George's heart right now. Go ahead. Talk about Jalen Hurts.
I've been listening to a lot of podcasts, a lot of people a lot smarter than me talking about Jalen Hurts. I read Matthew Berry's Love Hate that just recently came out. He talked up Jalen Hurts. I'm buying in on Jalen Hurts. It took me the better part of the offseason to believe him as a top 3 quarterback, but I absolutely believe in a Superflex he's there.
You ripped me apart
multiple
times.
I did.
He did. That's why I was shocked.
Brother.
That's why
Nino I said early. I didn't want you to snipe me.
Hey,
wow.
So my Scott Fishbowl team has the 3rd and the 4th pick as my 2 quarterbacks. So Mahomes and Hurts, I feel pretty good about that. John Duffel went Cooper Kupp. Mike D. Dirty Jobs went Jonathan Taylor, so the top wide receiver, the top running back off the board. Then we got FF_Doormat. Our guy Matt went Joe Burrow. I like early in the offseason, he was going top 3, top 4. Christian McCaffrey goes 8th overall. And then Joe Knows is in here picking the 9th. Does anybody have any thoughts on the running backs or wide receivers taken after Jalen Hurts?
McCaffrey.
Yeah.
Love it.
Yeah, I think that's a great pick. I mean, obviously the depressed values here. I mean, all these guys are reasonable values, and I think I think McCaffrey's gaining a little momentum. And honestly, if you're sitting there, you're thinking, I want to win this league. Are you taking the player who's averaged 21 points a game last year? The last time we see Christian McCaffrey, I mean, I want to extend it out, but it's 26 points a game. Look, I get your concerns, right, about Christian McCaffrey. I have drafted him each of the last 2 years. I've lost those 23 games too. I'm still going to chase that upside. Like I would still like if I was in a single league. I mean, it comes down to what kind of player you are, whether it's Taylor or McCaffrey. Taylor's not without upside. We saw the 50-point game against the Bills last year, 3 30-plus point games, and so I'm all about that as well. But I don't think you can go wrong with McCaffrey either, other than him getting hurt. And I'm injury agnostic. I don't care. Everyone's
injury agnostic. I like that, man. I need a bumper sticker that says that. All right, I'm going Lamar Jackson. Contract year. I think this dude's going to ball. I think he's going to earn the bag this year. So give me Lamar Jackson with the 10th pick in a contract year. And then we got Mancuso on the clock he's going Justin Jefferson. And then Justin Toe, Patreon member Justin Toe, is on the clock with the 12th overall selection. So do you guys think that Austin Eckler is going to be able to do what he did last year?
I think the potential's there for him to do it, to be honest. Like, I get the hype with Isaiah Spiller, and I know he's coming out saying that, he wants somebody to take some reps from him. But that division is going to be tough. He's clearly the pass catching back there. It's going to be a high scoring division for him to play in. I think he's going to eat once again this year.
They've been looking
touchdown
for
regression is a thing for everybody, and I mean, I don't expect Jonathan Taylor to have 20 touchdowns. I definitely don't expect Austin Eckler to have as many touchdowns, though. I mean, the 12 rushing touchdowns were 9 more than he's ever had before in his career. So, I mean, so I think that, I think that's the biggest concern for me is the touchdown numbers, but that's a concern for every player you're drafting. We're drafting everybody in the first round. We're drafting at their ceiling, right? So, yeah. I mean, I think that's not an unreasonable hope there.
All right, Kyler Murray rounds out the first round. First pick of the second round is Najee Harris, followed by Dak Prescott. And then I took Jamar Chase to pair up with Lamar Jackson. And then Joe Knows is back on the clock with the 4th pick of the second round.
So Coach, I'm not sure if you're aware of this, but Joe and Chris's videos are actually drafting together for the Joe Knows spot.
How about that? How about that? So that's like they're forming the Megazord right now.
Yes.
My thing with Spiller is Chargers have been looking for a guy like Spiller for 3 years with Jackson and the other gentleman,
Joshua Kelly,
and they never lived up to the hype. I feel Spiller is that guy, and if he can be that guy, then Eckler's definitely going to take a hit back when it comes to his numbers.
I've seen this summer. It was Spiller, but now I'm seeing a lot of hype with Joshua Kelly and a lot of the waivers on my leagues. I'm seeing him getting picked up everywhere. So it seems like people are starting to believe in him again. So there might be a little bit of a competition for the RB2 there. Maybe we're just making this up as fantasy players, but it seems to be the vibe. Go ahead.
I talked to Daniel Popper yesterday from The Athletic, who covers the Chargers. And, obviously the first question is about that. And he just says, I think, and he's a young man. He says, when I'm 70 years old, I'm still going to be talking about the Chargers RB2 to fantasy managers because they just keep swinging and missing, right? So
I actually like Kyler Murray at that 12. I think there's a chance Kyler Murray is the number 1 fantasy quarterback this year. Like I think they're really pushing that offense toward him. We know he's going to do more. I would have considered him. I probably would have taken him at the 104 in this draft.
Ooh, Trey Lance. So we saw Kelsey go. We saw Trey Lance. We saw Derrick Henry go. Those are the last few guys off the board. Dirty Jobs on the clock. So you said you have Kyler Murray ahead of Mahomes?
Yeah, my quarterback rankings are Allen, Herbert, Murray, Jackson, Hurts, and then Mahomes.
Do you think Rondale Moore takes a step?
Well, I don't know. It'll be a tiny little step if he does, but no.
Really?
No. I feel like he's kind of been a gadget player up to this point, and hopefully they work something out for him beyond that. And as soon as I see it, I'm not drafting like it's my expectation, but if he's there at the right price, I'll draft anybody. Injury
aside, I think he has a similar ceiling, like injury history aside, I think he has a similar ceiling to Hollywood Brown. Both very explosive players. Dangerous with the ball in their hands. I mean, coming out of Purdue, that's one thing. He hasn't done it in the NFL, but early on last year, it looked like it might come into play, but then it just never panned out. All right, go ahead.
Superflex, right? Superflex.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. We saw Matt Stafford went off the board after Derrick Henry. I like Dirty Jobs' draft so far. Jonathan Taylor, Matthew Stafford. We got John Duffel going no quarterbacks yet. He's got Cooper Kupp and Dalvin Cook. George Reed goes Kyle Pitts. Nino's got his man Derek Carr. And Shane, you're on the clock.
Yeah, this is a tricky spot for me. But like I honestly feel like there are 2 more quarterbacks left before a tier break. And I'm gonna play the upside game and go with Russell Wilson. I'm predicting the Broncos to win that division, and I think the weapons are great. So let's see what happens.
All right, Bob, you're on the clock.
So not like necessarily out looking to stack players, but when it happens kind of organically, in this case, it's a high end kind of organic stack with Stephon Diggs to go with Josh Allen and Tom Brady. I got to support the old people because I am that as well. Even coming off the oddest thing, I don't know, Shane and you guys, have you ever seen anything where someone just vanishes, especially a guy like Tom Brady, who, is just all about the work, right? All about dialing things in, perfecting things, and he takes an 11-day break. I have concerns about the middle of that offensive line because all quarterbacks do not like pressure up the middle. Tom Brady, maybe more than all other quarterbacks, hates pressure up the middle. So I have some concerns there. Maybe Chris Godwin not, coming along a little more slowly than hoped for. No Rob Gronkowski. I mean, there's a lot to be worried about, but also it's Tom Brady. Who cares? I'm all in.
Hell yeah. I love it. All right, Nino Brown goes Devontae Adams to stack with Derek Carr. Talk about it.
I thought Shane was actually going to snipe him on me, but he went with Aaron Jones. I'll take the stack. I mean, he's the best wide receiver in the game right now. He's hooking up with his best friend in college. The numbers are just going to go up. They're going to feed him. I think he's going to get like close to 150 targets.
Really? George goes with the wrong Miami Dolphins wide receiver right there.
Yeah.
Somebody didn't watch the first quarter of the Miami game today. That's all I'm saying.
Preseason.
Yeah. It doesn't matter.
Well, Jalen Waddle hasn't practiced in 2 weeks, so.
When the first play of the game is a 51-yard pass to Tyreek Hill,
how far did it go? How far was the pass thrown?
51 air yards.
Oh, wow. What side of the field, though?
It was to the center field.
Oh, okay. Yeah, that's about the limit. That's the limit.
All right, so we saw Tyreek went, Joe Mixon went, then Aaron Rodgers. The quarterback well has run dry.
Yeah.
Has absolutely run dry. Me at the end of the early second, going wide receiver was a bad choice. It was a terrible choice. Aaron Rodgers goes, Kirk Cousins goes. Chuck got the T2T's man of like May or June was DeAndre Swift. That was he was the flavor of June. So he goes to Chuck Steele. Joe knows, and Chris's videos are now on the clock. I was hoping Cousins or Rodgers made it back to me. John Duffel, he's got Cooper Kupp, Dalvin Cook, and Joe Mixon. He's got no quarterbacks. So we'll see what his strategy is. Joe's got no quarterbacks either. Chris is telling Joe, go Nick Chubb. And I see Joe saying, don't worry about quarterback now. So he's going Daniel Jones a little later on. I get that vibe.
Oh, man.
So I don't know what you guys are, it seems to me this year, and maybe because people are getting more acclimated to Superflex and 2 quarterbacks, up until this league, quarterbacks have gone a little more slowly. Like even in my Scott Fish Bowl, where people are usually really, quarterback needy, I think we've all kind of moved past the FOMO to some degree, just of drafting so much of missing out in this draft. And I've seen a few others like this, but I think the most of the Superflex and 2 quarterback leagues I've been in, the quarterbacks have gone a little more slowly. Like in Scott Fish, I got my second quarterback, I think in the 5th round. And I was, it was Jameis Winston. But I felt like that was okay in the 5th round.
I took, Bob, just to make you feel better, I took my first quarterback in the Scott Fish Bowl in the 5th round.
So I think you can pull it off in some of these leagues, right?
I ended up with Matt Ryan, Baker Mayfield, Jameis Winston, and Deshaun Watson.
All right.
So I was hoping I just got Barkley with the 10th pick, the 3rd round, and Lamb went, Debo went, and I was wondering, I was going to take Kamara to pair him with Barkley if he made it back. I was going to risk not going with the quarterback, but right now, Bob, I was hoping it wouldn't have been quarterback crazy, but it absolutely was after my selection. And now Tua is there. I don't believe in Justin Fields. I don't quite believe in Trevor Lawrence. I'm okay with either of those being my quarterback 3. You know, Jameis, I feel like they're going to throw it all over the yard there in New Orleans. They have tons of weapons, even if Michael Thomas can't get it together. But Tua, I mean, if I think Jalen's going to do it, and if I think Tyreek Hill is going to do it, somebody's got to get the points at quarterback. So give me Tua there. Joe Knows is on the clock. And they went Nick Chubb with their last pick. They have no quarterbacks. Is there a lag between the video and the actual draft? I don't know, Joe, because I'm on the video and the draft. He's asking in the chat for those listening at home.
Yeah.
So for me with Aaron Jones, like I was really between 3 running backs: Aaron Jones, Saquon, and Kamara. And that's the problem with picking second, right? It's like none of those guys are coming back, so so it doesn't matter. But I think the Packers are going to run the ball so damn much this year. So
I agree. I think Barkley's going to have I think Lamar Jackson, Barkley, both on my rosters, and both of those guys are in contract years. I think both of them are going to tear it up.
I mean, the whole 5 touchdowns the Giants will score. I'm sure Barkley will get them all,
so I kind of feel like we are investing in something we hope happens, like the Giants offense being better, right? And I do think it'll be better because the bar could not have been lower, right? We're talking a team that scored 15 points a game. So it's going to improve. I mean, and they've added pieces of the offensive line. I'm encouraged by that. It's going to be a more imaginative 21st century style NFL offense, clearly, with better game plans than they had in the past. But is it going to be like a high-end offense? I don't know. And like I do like all the reporting on Barkley. It's been super positive. And everyone that covers the team on a daily basis that I've talked to says he looks like the Saquon Barkley of old. I have not seen those practices. So the last Saquon Barkley I saw was not the Saquon Barkley of old. Didn't have the explosiveness last year. Couldn't break off the longer runs. Maybe the ankle lingered on. But even before that, he wasn't breaking off the long runs. I think the 10-plus and 20-yard plays were minimal for him. And so I have concerns about him going as high as he's going. I think he's probably still going to be a solid player. You know, he's going to get the workload. He got that last year. So I just hope this offense is as much better as we hope it is when all is said and done.
I hear that. I don't see anybody drafting anybody else on the Giants, though. I think everyone just thinks, that he'll improve, the offensive lines improve, but I still think that the passing game is going to be a dumpster fire.
Oh, George, you made it easier for me. I was torn between Etienne and Elliott, and with Elliott losing his left tackle, I was still leaning Etienne, but you made it easy for me. Thank you, sir.
Well, we had after Tua went, Mike Evans went, Mark Andrews went, Breece Hall, Keenan Allen, George Kittle, Ezekiel Elliott, went, Travis Etienne, and Shane, you're back on the clock.
Yeah, I'm going to take T. Higgins. I think he's getting disrespected just because Jamar Chase is on that team, and he had some monster weeks that second half. I think there's a possibility he even outscores Chase this year, so give me T.
Heck yeah. Bob, you're on the clock.
So this makes, for some difficult decisions because there's 2 running backs I really like there. I like James Conner an awful lot. The 6 games he played without Chase Edmonds last year, there was only one running back in the NFL who put up more fantasy points. That running back was Jonathan Taylor. So part of this is what Shane talked about, Kyler Murray, this offense. I think they're going all in on this. Conner's an explosive piece of that. The piece that's going to have the ball in his hands at the 1-yard line. That was a big part of it last year. Again, 18 touchdowns is a lot. Not expecting that, but I am going to chase that role and the production. And Fournette was the running back. I almost doubled down and took Fournette and Conner. But the A.J. Brown sprinkles we're getting from camp have been like hard to ignore. Like what was Jimmy Kempski? He's going to get 11 billion targets. Okay, I'll take those.
It's a lot of targets.
Yeah. So I'm torn right here between Pittman and Waddle. I don't like the fact that it's an undisclosed injury. We don't really know what the heck's going on with Waddle. I think I would say breakout season for Pittman, but I'm pretty sure last year was a breakout season. So I'm gonna go with Waddle. Just just because I like the athleticism and the talent that he's got there over Pittman.
So we got Connor,
So,
Fournette,
and
Waddle,
Nino-
and George is on the clock.
And Nino returned the favor for me because I really wanted one of the 3 running backs that went after Zeke. And when they all went and he was on the clock, I was hoping he would not take Pittman because I already have Tyreek, so I did not want Waddle. So I appreciate that. I'll go with Michael Pittman.
Hey, I'm feeling good today. I'm feeling generous. All right, college football.
Hey, we're working together well here, Nina. We're working together well.
You guys are like Joe and Chris's videos. You guys are pairing up. We got all right. Jameis Winston is John Duffle's first quarterback. Dirty Jobs in the background on the clock. He's already got Stafford and Rodgers. I like that pairing. Keenan Allen, Jonathan Taylor. Some steady production in his first 4. David Montgomery. All right. Doormat is on the clock. His roster is Burrow, Henry, Cousins, Breece Hall. Trevor Lawrence. Chuck goes Mike Williams. Joe's on the clock.
I'd like to get a take from the guests about Montgomery and Khalil Herbert. Which guy you think is going to be the man this year in Chicago?
Yeah, look, I still like Montgomery. I mean, he's been as rock solid as he could be. I think everyone is just searching for, like, they want someone else to be the guy because he doesn't feel exciting. I think Herbert's going to get a little more play this year, but I still think Montgomery is going to be that guy that just, gets 4 catches and churns out 90 yards. And you look at the fantasy score and you're like, yeah, I'm good with that.
I feel pretty much the same. I think Shane nailed it there. And just talking to the beat writers, and I talked to like Chris Emma, who was one of the guys driving this back as early as June, and he was predicting this, more Herbert. And so we'll see. I think it's hard to take your best players off the field. And I mean, Herbert's been pretty good. I think Montgomery's better.
David Montgomery, but Herbert is, if Monty goes down, I think Herbert fits right into that role. Very similar running styles. All right, so we saw Trevor Lawrence after David Montgomery, followed by Mike Williams, Elijah Mitchell. I went Darren Waller. DJ Moore went next. DK Metcalf to round out the 5th, and Justin Fields to start the 6th. What do you guys think about Justin? Is there any chance Justin Fields finishes like top 20 quarterbacks this year?
Yeah, I think there is. I mean, he's got a safe floor. He's going to run the ball. I mean, he does have Darryl Mooney. I expect Cole Kmet to absolutely feast for them this year. I think there is a chance. A top 20 quarterback for Justin Fields, yeah, I think that's possible.
I think top 20 is pretty low bar. There's a non-zero chance that I'm not enthusiastic about the Bears offense in general, right? I mean, offensive lines matter, and I don't know if they've improved theirs to the degree. I mean, that was a big problem last year, and so hopefully it's better this year. They've added some pieces, moved some things around. So hoping the best for him.
After Fields, it went Terry McLaurin, Deontay Johnson, Cortland Sutton. So we got a little bit of a wide receiver run here. Brandon Cooks. Doormat is back on the clock. Yeah, it's just everything I've seen from the Bears, man, it looks ugly. It looks very ugly. I'm hoping, but the kid's talented as hell.
I thought they would
watch this. Have this Miami game on a little bit. Can they not score? What's going on here?
So Matt's got 4 quarterbacks. What the hell is this guy doing? He's just trying to hurt everybody. He's got Burrow, Cousins, Lawrence, Jones.
Jeez.
Matt is just power moves all over the place right here. Dirty Jobs went A.J. Dillon. Duffel went Marquise Brown. Go ahead, George. I'm sorry.
He's trying to flex with that "I'll trade you a quarterback" mid-season strategy.
Yeah, excellent mock draft strategy.
Yeah, it helps. It helps here,
Yeah. We'll have him write an article about it afterwards. You can explain what was going to happen after the draft.
Right now, I'm torn between Allen Robinson and St. Brown, but I got a feeling Allen Robinson gets 10 plus touchdowns, and he's got a chance to just dominate one-on-one. So I'm going to go with Robinson.
I have him at 1150 yards for my projections this year. I think he's a pretty safe play. I think he's going to cook with Matthew Stafford. Shane, you're on the clock.
Yeah, I'm going to take it. I like getting a tight end decently early because I feel like it becomes a question mark after I think this ends the tier. I like Dalton Schultz. There's not a ton of receiving options for Dallas. We'll see how Gallup is. I think Dalton Schultz is going to get a lot of targets. Might have to block a little bit more, but I like locking that up. I think he's going to be a top 5 tight end and outscore one of the guys in front of him.
All right, Bob.
My usual move when I don't love anybody is to take quarterbacks. When I don't love any of them, I'm not sure what I do. So go ahead and take Cam Akers, who, I don't know. There's a lot of negative talk about him. I feel like we're afraid there's going to be 2 starters there. I mean, evidence to the contrary. Sean McVay, every time he has running backs, he tends to stick with one. So I'm hoping he sticks with the one. I don't know if quarterbacks are going to make it around to be. So I'm just going to take a guy right now. I mean, once we get past her, I think Dormat might take his 5th one, maybe his 6th by the time it gets back to me. So I'm going to go ahead. And there's a lot of guys up here that I think have maybe a little bit of upside. I think that one has a little upside as well. Not because look, former Super Bowl quarterback, but they put a lot of pieces around them. And again, did I mention the offensive lines mattering? If you look at Detroit's offensive line, which they never had all 5 pieces in place last year, it might be one of the best in the league this year if they keep all those components in place.
Yep.
So that one he is talking about is Jared Goff. So he added Jared Goff as his QB3. Shane, you went with Rashad Bateman.
I loved Rashad Bateman coming into the league. I think last year is just kind of unfortunate with the Ravens, the injury, the Ravens offense, and Lamar going down. He's going to be the second target in that offense. I think Rashad Bateman could. Yeah, I think like top 20 receivers is pretty solid.
Shane, whatever happened to our guy Kelvin Harmon?
Oh, he just got cut. It was so sad,
Man.
But
another wide receiver I loved coming into the league.
Yeah. That year for receivers was rough to prognosticate. So.
All right, Nino, where'd you go?
I ended up going with Dallas Goedert, who I think is going to have an excellent year this year. I'm big on the Eagles. I think everybody over there is going to have good numbers. I feel good. Goedert's going to get real easy coverage with Smith and A.J. Brown there. So it'll be nice to see him over the middle with Hurts running out. It's all falls on Hurts, actually.
I like how the Massachusetts accent pronounces his last name. Goddard, or however you said it.
I apologize.
That works, man. What's that, Shane?
So the accent's so good for Nino. I couldn't overlook any of that.
Yeah. All right, George went Clyde Edwards-Helaire. George, tell us about it.
I mean, the running back room is starting to get real thin. Not a big fan of Gibson. Don't want nothing to do with Jacobs. Dobbins is a huge question mark. Walker's injured. Miles Sanders is a question mark. Damian Harris is a question mark. I feel like he's the last true starting running back that was left on the board compared to the other guys. So should be in a fairly potent offense. So I'll take a stab at Clyde Edwards-Helaire. Haven't really been a big fan of his, but at the 7th round, I'm throwing a dart as my RB2 at this point.
Joe knows on brand going with Daniel Jones, and I'm going to take Amari Cooper. I think he's very quarterback friendly. I think in the 7th round, I think that's safe. I think this guy's got wide receiver 1 potential. So give me that there. See who we got next. Now I'm thinking about running backs. I'm definitely going running back with my next pick. I got a few guys in my mind, and I think there's one guy who is a little underrated based upon what he did last year.
Oh, I know what you're talking about.
I'm hoping to get him on my roster.
I got a question about Cleveland, Coach, and to the guests as well. Will Brissett make all 11 games, or is there a chance that Josh Dobbs, with his play in this preseason, could sneak in there and get a shot?
No, being from Pittsburgh, no. Josh Dobbs is, he's one of the best interviews that I've done, but I don't think he's made
flex on it, Shane.
No, like the 2 times I covered camp last year, but he's going to be a rocket scientist after he's done in football. But
so that means he'll go coach for the Patriots,
right? At some point,
like Matt Patricia, right? Isn't he like a biochemist or something?
Yes. I also am a rocket scientist, just for no.
That's fair.
We'll have to
totally a lie.
You can't disprove that. So
we got a guy, Jason, who's basically he's a rocket man. So Bob, after the show, I'll link you up with him, and you guys can talk shop.
I thought he was an astronaut, right?
He is,
all right,
AKA a rocket man. All right,
All right.
Astronaut, rocket man, like same. All right, I'm going Cordero Patterson. I just think he's got such a high floor. I like Algier, but I think Cordarrelle Patterson's going to be on the field. I think he's in PPR. I think he's a very safe RB2, and to get him in the 8th, I'm comfortable. Go ahead.
I think as a like kind of the whole fantasy world is just convinced ourselves that like that was like the magical Josh Gordon season of 2013 that Cordarrelle Patterson had last year, and it maybe turned out to be that way. But I think a lot of that was Arthur Smith, who apparently is a pretty offensive rocket scientist guy. He twisted up that Rubik's Cube of talents, right, and found the right combination of things that Cordarrelle Patterson does well as both a runner and receiver. He doesn't do like everything well in either space, but he does have a band of stuff that he's really good at, and Arthur Smith has figured it out. I don't think he's going to forget how that works.
I love it. I love to hear it. Yeah, I think he was for anybody who got him last year. What a gift! Him and Elijah Mitchell. What a gift! Cordarrelle Patterson and Elijah Mitchell were to fantasy owners who weren't expecting a lot from either of those guys, and both of those guys were huge, especially early on. All right, Joe Nose is back on the clock. He's got Daniel Jones. Maybe he'll just go with the New York connection and go ahead and take Joe Flacco.
Don't sleep on Joe. Joe's going to have a year this year. He's going to get more than 6 games, too, so watch out.
Oh, he won Renfro. My guy. I love it. Oh, Devontae Smith goes after Renfro. Doormat, which quarterback is he going, guys?
He can't take another one. He can't.
Don't tempt him.
Hey, Baker looks good, man.
I thought it looked fine. Yeah, right.
All right, Darnell Mooney. So Judy and Mooney in the last 2 picks. 30 Jobs went with his boy Godwin. He is a Tampa Bay fan. And how about the fall from grace Godwin? Do we think it's going to take Godwin multiple weeks to get back to himself, or we think he's going to come out the gate hot?
I'd be surprised about out of the gate, but I've been surprised before. I mean, the fact that he's been working all along, the non-contact jersey and everything is pretty promising. Like if he's up to full speed, I mean, it doesn't sound like he's doing a lot of full team drills or at least no contact or anything. So it takes him a little time to ramp up, but I think it's going to be faster than maybe we thought at the start of training camp.
All right, Dirty Jobs went with Hawkinson. John Double's got his second quarterback, so he waited till the 5th round. He ends up with Winston and Tannehill. George Reed on the clock.
Right, good. You didn't snipe me. I'm gonna go Jacobs because not that Kenny Drake was anything special, but it got weeded out. Jacobs is gonna be the guy. I feel I'm big on White, but I don't think White's gonna overtake that backfield until at least mid-season. I think the carries are going through Jacobs. Mir Abdul doesn't scare me. He's been in the league forever and he hasn't done a thing. So,
all right, there goes Antonio Gibson. Shane, what are your thoughts on Gibson?
I think people are way overreacting. I'm gonna have Gibson every redraft league I'm in because, great, he's returning kicks like Antonio Brown returned kicks. He can play special teams. He's still gonna be the primary back, and now you can get him as an RB3, RB4 sometimes.
You heard it here. Antonio Gibson's is the next Antonio Brown.
Right. Well, let's not go. We don't put that juju on him.
Yeah.
I was about to say, is he gonna quit at halftime? Is that what we're saying?
Ron Rivera keeps giving him the business. He just might. So Bob, what are your thoughts on Michael Thomas this year?
He's not going to be 2019 Michael Thomas, but I take 2018 or 2017 as well. I mean, look, I think what we heard earlier, I think that Jameis Winston is going to be delivering lots of balls. Hopefully the vast majority of those touchdowns will go to his team. I mean, there's other components there, but I do think, just going all the way back to early this year, the beat writers, and I mean, every single one of them, Mike Triplett, Catherine Terrell, Nick Underhill, John Hendricks, they've all been super enthusiastic, not just Michael Thomas is back, but he's back, right? And so we'll see. I'm a little worried about the hamstring right now, but that doesn't sound like a permanent condition. But it seems like the attitude's dialed in. We'll see what first time that Chauncey Gardner punches him in the face, if that holds up, but I don't know, or gets it lippy with them. And so, I mean, I think this is a pretty reasonable value for him. It's been growing. I like getting him better earlier this year in best balls, but I'll take him here now. And I think Adam Thielen is another overlooked commodity. When he was hurt in week 10 last year, he was wide receiver 7 and Mike Zimmer's Vikings, right? So, touchdowns, we know he can score. And I'm not going to count on touchdowns, but only 2 wide receivers have scored more touchdowns than Adam Thielen since 2020.
I love it. And I think Jarvis Landry is a good person to have in the locker room with Michael Thomas. I've never been in the locker room with Jarvis Landry. I just get the vibe. I just get the vibe that he's a good dude to have next to him. He's a gamer. And dude cares about winning, and I think that rubs off on his teammates. And we'll see if it'll rub off on Michael Thomas before Chauncey Gardner-Johnson gets a chance to punch him in the face. All right, we got Baker Mayfield, Brandon Ayuk, Chase Edmonds. George, talk about him.
It's another Miami. Listen, I could be a Miami homer and say that's the reason I took him, but he's a starting running back for a football team. I'm a running back type drafter normally. I really wasn't liking the way my draft was going because I waited so late to grab my first running back, but I feel like I've got a solid rotation of running backs that I can use that all have upside, and Chase Edmonds is going to be the receiving back for Miami. So I like the fact that in a PPR, getting him in the 9th round, I'm expecting him to get anywhere between 50 to 55 receptions coming out of that backfield. So I like it.
I think all these running backs, like the 3 that George got, Nino's, Josh Jacobs, and the Antonio Gibson pick, there's a lot of angst, this time of year because we're focusing on certain things. I mean, the range of possible outcome for Jacobs is, wow, all those other guys are going to play, or they drive the wheels off him because he's just a rental car. Right. Yep. I think that's, as likely on the range of outcomes as not, but Gibson as well. I mean, I saw Ben Standick from The Athletic just basically said it flat out is, Gibson's still the guy with the most touches in this backfield when the season's over. I would totally agree with that as well. I love those 3 running backs you picked up, George, with the last 3 picks.
Thank you. Matt did take another quarterback, so now I think he's trolling us. He went with Zach Wilson. Chuck Steele went Davis Mills, and we got Justin in the chat.
His mom made him take that one.
Yes. Zing. Bob, you've had a few subtle zings in this show. I've liked it so far. I like the one about the quarterback. Was Jameis throwing touchdowns mostly to his own teammates. I thought that was a good one. And then we got Justin in here, said, man, what a group. You guys are amazing. Justin, when you make comments like that, you got to change your picture to something else so everybody who sees it doesn't just look and see that you're a member of Toilets and Titles. Yeah, right. and you're just gassing us up. All right, but I do appreciate that. You're an amazing guy too. Joe, I was going to say don't draft Dameon Pierce. I wanted it to fall to Nino so that we could have closure on the offseason. Because nothing would close the offseason if we didn't go full circle like Nino going from Marlon Mack to taking Dameon Pierce.
Listen,
you got to leave a draft with Dameon. It's got to happen.
I will not. Right?
To.
I won't. I will, say I'll die. And I was wrong on Mac. He's like literally non-existent. I don't know what the deal is. I'm still not full in on Dameon Pierce. I feel like
in the 10th.
Well, maybe in the 10th, but just in general, is he going to be longer than this year? And everybody forgets.
It's redraft.
All right, but everybody's like thrown out the window that offensive line played out of their mind. And there was one starter in San Francisco, and it's preseason. How many guys have been ballers in preseason and then disappeared when it comes to regular season?
Travis Jervey would like to word with you.
I want you to leave one draft, 10th or 11th round, get Dameon Pierce, and hopefully he helps you win some games, and so he could grow on you. You could stop throwing darts at his face. All right, because you're throwing darts at the man.
I don't hate the guy, but I get every single day on Twitter. I get drilled by this. My man Shay tweeted that, and like 3 or 4 different people. It's insane. Between that and Gardner Minshew, I get flooded.
I just realized I have 2 Pittsburgh wide receivers. I don't know why I did that. So that's going to be a trade. Maybe I'll trade with Matt after this. Oh, but Shane likes it, so I'll trade with Shane. I got George Pickens there. That's my pick to win Offensive Rookie of the Year. Zach Ertz off the board, who I like. I think Zach Ertz is
moment of this draft was when Zach Ertz didn't make it back to me.
It's when you shed a tear. Deshaun Watson. I thought that's the second saddest moment of the draft when Deshaun Watson went 9th round. Treylon Burks goes. Devin Singletary. I'm back on the clock. I need to pay attention, guys. I'm not doing my job.
Treylon Burks scored a touchdown tonight. I'm very excited. After he got hurt and was questionable to return, comes back, scores the touchdown. He needed a moment like that.
Man, I want to go Kenneth Walker here. That groin injury scares me a little bit. But they're saying he's going to be ready for week 1. Go ahead.
A groin injury? They said it wasn't it's a hernia, but they said it wasn't a sports hernia, right?
So
I don't know. Has anyone ever had like one of the regular hernias? Because I don't see him. No. I'm not sure how you worked out this calculus that has him back for week 1. If this was a regular hernia, a sports hernia, I don't care. If it was like an invasive procedure where they are cutting through core muscles, this seems like a stretch to expect him back week 1. I'm not a doctor. Maybe someone out there can contradict this for me. Maybe there's a procedure I don't know about. Entirely possible. I am also not a rocket scientist. That was a lie too. So
go with it. Please. Just please go with it. We that's the type of content we need.
He's a man of many hats tonight. He is a man of many hats.
I like it.
My head is cold. I need a hat.
or you need a spacesuit.
Well, that's only when I'm a rocket scientist.
It's cold out there in space. All right, we have Joe Knows went Chris Olave. Chuck Steele went Kareem Hunt. I feel like that's a man who's forgot about. One guy I do want to ask you guys about, Bob, what do you think about the New England Patriots backfield situation?
As a general rule, I draft all the Harrises I can.
Okay, fair.
Clan Harris, power. I felt like they keep thinning the herd a little bit. I mean, I feel a little better about all of them, but it's going to be the usual Gordian knot situation. You will not be able to untie it until it happens in real time, and so you're kind of taking your chances with any of them. I think if you're a believer in Damian Harris, I mean, again, touchdown regression is going to be a big thing for him, and every touchdown he loses is 10 more yards he has to run for in most scoring systems to make up those points, and I don't know if he's going to get that. I think we're going to see plenty of Stevenson. So I'm kind of like looking at some of the other Harrises in drafts, like Najee. I think he will be fine.
Okay, so we're higher on Najee. So Nino,
slightly higher on Najee than Damian. Sorry, cousins.
Good. That's good. All right, Nino, you went Ramondre over Damian. So go ahead, man.
Yeah, I mean, I'm in New England, and I know Bill just does what he wants, but he looks great. With James White gone, he's been eating up all the pass catching duties in camp and preseason, and he's going to be the goal line guy. Just give me more Ramondre. And Damian's got one,
out, right?
Yeah, he's out for a while, and Damian's on his last year of his deal. You know, I've been saying it all year. The Rams, the Ravens, someone like that, they lose a running back again. Hello, New England. What's the price for Damian? I don't think he's going to be there all year. I think Ramondre Stevenson is going to be RB1 for the New England Patriots by week 8.
Do you think there's fact that they might move on from Isaiah Wynn? You think they'll move him before the season starts?
I think they wanted to. It all depends on if this offense the new offense can get in place before the season starts, because they look terrible. If they revert back to the old offense, I think they're going to have to keep Wynn.
All right. So after Kareem Hunt went Tyler Lockett, James Cook, Miles Sanders, Christian Kirk, Ramondre Stevenson, Shane went DeAndre Hopkins, Bob went Lazard and Freiermuth. So what are your thoughts on Freiermuth, Bob?
I don't know. I'm going kind of with some of the, I think it was Jeremy Fowler or one of the ESPN guys went out and talked to a bunch of executives, and they said this guy's going to be a superstar. I think the quarterback situation is a little better. He'll get a ton of targets. Mostly, I don't like any of the other tight ends in this range. Didn't like sitting there facing Damian Harris at the top of the queue when I just badmouthed one of my fellow Harrises, and so I just avoided the situation altogether. And I'll be chasing receiving running backs here in the next few picks. But like, some of the tight ends I like a little better. I mean, I can get as a second tight end a fair amount later. So I'll go with Freiermuth and get another upside guy later in this draft. Although I don't think we'll make it to that point. I'll be doing it imaginarily. Is that a word?
Yeah, no, that's fair. That'll pass. We like, that's a fair word. Does anyone see the comment that Chuck has in here that says, "Love me, Davis Mills"? I don't know what he was trying to say, but I just read it as him reaching out to Davis Mills. Like, love me, Davis. He drafted Davis Mills. He's trying to win him over.
I mean, so like if you're at a point in the draft where you're just looking for the guy who if you're looking at Zach Wilson, let's say, and comparing him with Davis Mills, like who are you closer to 100% sure if all things are going, if health isn't a factor, is going to be the starting quarterback all 17 games?
It's the guy with the neck.
Yeah, the neck god.
The neck god is Davis Mills.
I think Wilson is fine, but I mean, Joe Flacco's elite. We all know this. And no, I mean, I just don't know. I don't have a lot of faith in either of these offenses, but I do think Mills showed that progress last year that I thought was pretty encouraging. I thought it was it was a much greater leap from his first turn as a starter early in the season to his second turn. Remember, he only started like 11 games at Stanford, whereas Zach Wilson, his progress was super incremental. And by that, I mean very minimal.
Yeah, right. There was Mike White had a few performances that were the talk of the town more so than Zach Wilson, which says a lot. So after Freiermuth went Robert Woods, Kadarius Toney, who Nino took, who, man, I it's been a roller coaster with Toney. I was low, high. I'm kind of low again, but there was a point where I was taking him in like the 8th round. So I think that's good value in 11th because that's definitely a wild card.
All right, so that Joe will tell me to write him off and get rid of him. Joe knows because he's already done out with the injury.
He is.
All right, Colin Johnson's done for the year, right? And he was the guy that was making some buzz to be wide receiver 3. Kenny Galladay's lost. Okay, he's been lost for his whole time at Giants. The only other guy out there, and he's coming back from an injury, is Shepard, who could make some noise. So he's a rookie. I don't think he's going to take all of that, but yeah, he's going to have his place. But a lot of what Wandell's doing is coming out of the backfield and short slants. Toney on the field can catch the ball anywhere. I think he's going to be wide receiver 1 for them as long as that hamstring is okay.
Right. Maybe he's a guy who just doesn't like to practice.
I don't know, man.
Joe's saying I'd love to see Toney in a trade package for Roquan Smith. Well, so Joe's our GM, Bob. Bob's our rocket scientist this evening. Joe's our GM, so he's in the chat. He's already pushing for the Giants. Yeah, the Bears are going to do that.
I'll trade you Isaiah Wynn in a 4th rounder for Toney to New England and watch Toney ball out on the.
Oh yeah,
track.
Bill love him. Bill would love Kadarius.
Put him in the slot.
They'd get along really well.
So why do you hate Jacoby Myers?
I can't score, dude. Why do you hate Miles Sanders? Because he can't score, right? I mean, real life.
You hate Kyle Pitts too?
Well, he's a rookie. Come on, Jacoby Myers and he's not a freak. Kyle Pitts isn't a freak. So, I mean, Kyle Pitts is a freak. Jacoby Myers is not a freak. I'm not a fan. They're mediocre. I'm not even a fan of Parker. You like Parker. I didn't want the trade to even happen. I was like,
I don't like Parker. I'm glad we gave you our 5th best wide receiver for a 3rd round pick.
They're probably going to cut Bourne too, and he's going to ball out somewhere else.
All right, Michael Gallup's off the board. So after Toney went Gordon, Claypool, Boyd, Harris. So Matt heard us talking about Damian Harris. He finally took him. Jarvis Landry, Michael Gallup. And I'm going with Dubs. I was recently found out the correct way to pronounce his name. It's the Dubs. I'm taking Dubs. So I got back-to-back rookies. It could be the dynasty in me that's going with these selections, but I think Dubs is actually a value here because Rodgers has to throw to someone. I know Lazard went to Bob in the 10th and Dubs to the 11th. So one of us is going to hit there.
That's smoke, right? Him at wide receiver 4. It's all smoke, right? I mean, Lazard's a blocking wide receiver. He can't really be the dude.
He is a league winner. Stop that nonsense. I'll have none of your slander, Nino.
There'll be no besmirching.
Nino's calling your bluff, Bob. Nino thinks you took Lazard because you're really just dodging Damian Harris.
It's true, but that's okay. He's not wrong.
Sammy Watkins might play 2 games before he gets hurt, and he's done for the year over there.
Great 2 games, though.
All right, and then Randall Cobb is going to go out there in a wheelchair. He'll probably catch 3 passes and be done. So, like, it's.
And so it is the future Hall of Famer, Alan Lazard, that's clearly going to win this league.
He might go down in the Hall of Fame for one of the best blocking wide receiver ever. Right here, Harry, my boy Harry.
Shane, was Lazard in the same draft class as Kelvin Harmon?
Bringing
it back.
He was. Yeah, because a lot of people love Lazard, and then he ended up not getting drafted. It was
who else was the other tall wide receiver? I think he went to Washington.
I just want to say I love how we've gone full circle on Kelvin Harmon. I
tried to.
It keeps coming back.
Excellent.
I got levels in here.
I don't know who you went like that in that draft. Hakeem Butler, JJ
Arcega, that's who it was.
Whiteside.
Hakeem Butler.
Whiteside. Oh.
Yeah. Why don't we end this show? And why don't we do an hour just talking about misses?
There's a lot of them. My Patriots missed. I'm Chad Jackson.
Oh man, yeah. And then Chad Jackson. I was down. I think that was when I was down in Gainesville. And then who's the kid from Marshall? What the hell was his name? Shane, you got to know. Bob. Who's the kid from Marshall? The Dobson.
Dobson, yeah.
Aaron Dobson.
So all my misses I blame on Matt Waldman, so we'll have to bring him on as well.
Matt Waldman is also a friend of the show. We've had him, so we can blame him. Blame Matt Waldman. That'll be the show. That'll be the next show. So for an hour, we'll talk about our misses, and then for the next hour, we'll just blame Matt Waldman. All right? So, man, where am I going here? I do need to pay attention. I am.
27 seconds left.
It's been.
I don't know. I think demonstrably you don't. I mean, it's going pretty well, and you have
Right.
it. So.
Thank you. I appreciate it. Thanks for
What-
talking
what-
me up,
what
man.
rookies are
Hello,
left?
Sky Moore. Sky Moore.
There we go. I
Okay.
knew it. What rookies are left? Coach is taking another freaking rookie.
Sorry. Joe knows went Sterling Shepard. Chuck, Brian Robinson.
Brian Robinson's a good pick.
That was I could have went with that rookie. Doormat went Oakwick Bunham. All right. And Dirty Jobs is on the clock. Man, we did well.
I've
12
heard no
rounds,
buzz
an
about
hour?
Alberto. Alberto has been very quiet all camp.
Bob, is it Dolchich or Alberto? Who's it going to be?
It's Dulcich. If it was Alberto, it would have. I mean, they just keep everything you keep hearing is like he's not fitting in. They would love him to be more, but Dulcich can't stay healthy either, so that'll be a factor.
He's not fitting in.
Yeah, it just seems like he's not working out there. He's not the player they want, or the doesn't have the profile they're looking for. I think he's a pretty good player, right? It's just seems like that every time you talk to somebody who's covering that they're talking about Dulcich more than they're talking about Alberto.
He's probably upset that his college teammate Drew Lock was traded away. That could be it. He's probably trying to sabotage the season.
I said Geno Smith weeks before preseason started. I got ripped apart on Twitter.
Here we go.
And now I'm just gonna put my feet up and let him out there. Let Geno ride, baby.
Come on, George. You can do it.
All right, guys. So we're going to stick around for 3 more hours. So the first hour, second hour, we're going to play Walbin, and the third hour is just going to be Nino talking about the battles he's had all offseason. Because
an hour 4 will be me lecturing on rocket science.
your old lady's going to love that, Bob. I'm sure. Let's keep him around. Let's keep him around until 1 o'clock in the morning. Just talking about nonsense. We can do that. George, you're on the clock. Go ahead.
Yeah, I'm looking at the wide receivers here. See if there's anybody that's just jumping off my screen at this point. You know what? I'm going to go with a rookie here. I think he'll end up being one of the best wide receivers on the Jets come the end of the season.
Especially with Flacco. Flacco's throwing darts to Garrett Wilson.
He says he makes a catchable ball. Nice, easy catchable ball, huh? I'm going to go with the other rookie that I think is going to be good this year. I'm going to go with Dotson. I liked Moore, but Bob talked me out of Moore real quick. So.
Isaiah Pacheco. Shane, that's your guy, huh?
Let's go for the upside with the RB4. I mean, I don't know. Pacheco's running that 4-3. He could be the starter by week 5, and that's some money in the bank.
All right, and Bob, what's the last selection? Who's Mr. Irrelevant?
James Robinson. Hoping that the Jaguars aren't lying, and having a co-host who works at the team's facility helps out in my understanding of where that situation stands. So. I don't know where he'll be at week 1. I know he's not on the PUP, and I know he'll be around at some point. And I kind of tend to agree with the people who believe by the time the season's over, he'll have more carries than Travis Etienne, but Etienne will probably have equal touches. So I think this is a pretty good value at this point.
All right, so this is right when we shift over to my misses, because you're talking about having a co-host who basically works with the Jaguars. What's up with Laviska Shenault?
Who?
Laviska, yeah, exactly. I see what you did there.
Laquan Treadwell says Laviska Shenault is a great locker mate, and he hopes he enjoys holding his
Man, I thought Laviska Shenault was for sure. I thought he was going to be an absolute monster.
So, and Shane, you probably know this better than me, but I mean, so the thing to me, it seems like in terms of athleticism in college, there's this gap where the most athletic guys in college are maybe 10% more athletic than the next level of athletic guys. And in the NFL, the most athletic guys are about 0.5% more athletic than everyone else. And so if you're banking on that super athletic ability and everything, then the gap really narrows when you get to the pro level, it seems.
Yeah, I think it was just a combination of, playing against weaker defenses and Laviska was physical. It wasn't all just, pure athleticism in college. And so that combination, like you said, Bob, being 0.5% down athletically, 0.5% down in terms of running guys over, you can't do either. That's a problem. I mean, I definitely missed there too. So I'm not, criticizing anyone, but it's tough.
Being out there in Colorado, there were games when Von Miller was out there, hanging out with Laviska Shenault on the sidelines. I thought this dude was a shoo-in just to be a baller. And so I think we're gonna start having some buzzwords where I'm sure Nino, George, the rest of the guys from Toilets Titles, they're gonna blank me out when I start talking about some guys, because this is a guy that there's really no reason to talk about him, but I just can't stop.
Can I bring one up real quick?
Yeah,
Jordan
go ahead.
Blackman. I was big on Blackman, and he was
Justin Blackman.
Justin. I'm sorry, Justin Blackman. He was nothing.
Yeah.
He came
Well,
in.
So what I'm taking away from
it
this
seems like there's a trend here. Let's throw in Matt Jones too, and we can just keep it all Jaguar centric.
See, I'm sitting back thinking, man, y'all need to stop being fans of wide receivers that go to the Jaguars.
Yeah, that's probably true. And being a guy from Florida, George knows he's down there. All right, excellent. Guys, before we wrap this thing up, which I'm very impressed, we did 12 rounds in an hour. We are all professionals. We got a rocket scientist with us. I mean, we got a school teacher with us. So we're all professionals. We're highly coordinated in this thing. Does anybody have any thoughts about this draft before we wrap this thing up?
I thought it was interesting. The quarterbacks, went a little quicker than I've seen in most of the recent Superflexes I've been in. And I think that's something that they're out there watching this. I mean, there's going to be differences. It's going to be the dynamic of the room, right? And you should be prepared to make the adjustment necessary when there's somebody in your draft that's going to take 5 quarterbacks. You should have some feeling that maybe you're going to have to push the envelope a little harder.
All right, Shane, you got any closing thoughts?
No, I echo definitely Bob's sentiments. I think in Superflex, the quarterbacks are always kind of wild. I think it's interesting to see some of the kind of late running backs too, guys like Darrell Henderson, Michael Carter, who might open as the starters in their backfield, going so far below the upside guys like Cam Akers and Breece Hall. I think there's some value to be had there at running back that I think is something that can be exploitable.
Shane, how's your other drafts going? You killing it?
It's good. It's fine. I just like 10 team standard.
That sounds like it's totally not going good.
Yeah,
I'm just waiting for his room to burst into fire.
I took Dameon Pierce, so Nino would be mad. But other than that,
come on, you're on the clock. You're on the clock with 16 minutes left, Shane, and I'll leave.
Oh Jesus! I gotta pick that one down.
All right, see, we all got lives. It's Saturday night. I'm gonna let you guys go. I appreciate every single one of you coming on to our guest, Bob Harris. Man, I really appreciate you coming on. It was nice to see you this offseason. I'm sure we'll be talking throughout the year. Hopefully, I'll see you next year at Canton. We'll do this thing again sometimes real soon. Shane, man, thanks again. You definitely have the chair as the most guested person. I don't know now if that's a word, but I think guested is a term I'm going to use.
Imaginarily so, yes.
I'm going to use it for this particular situation. So, fellas, I appreciate you guys. George, Nino, all the guys drafting at home, Chuck, Matt, who took about 15 quarterbacks, so he definitely drove that quarterback run early on. We got John Duffel, Chris Mancuso, Dirty Jobs for producing. Everybody, if you appreciate the show, check out our YouTube, like, comment, subscribe, Apple Podcasts. Throw us a 5-star review. We got a Patreon, patreon.com/Toilets to Titles. We got tons of stuff going on in there, especially our weekly waiver wire episode that goes specifically to people Patreon tier 2 and up. Goes out Monday night, like midnight. So get in there. Good luck in your redraft leagues. Tweet at us at Toilets to Titles if you have any questions. Definitely make sure you follow Shane at Shane P. Hallam and Bob at FF Diehards. And good luck this season. We will see you all later on.
Thanks, guys.
Thanks.